In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly what still works for local SEO in 2026 and what's officially dead. Because if you're still doing local SEO like you were 2022, you're wasting your time and money. AI has changed how answers show up online, the competition's gotten sharper, and Google Business Profile doesn't rank the way it used to. But local SEO does still work. You just need to understand what actually moves the needle. Now, we're going to break down 5 different areas of SEO you need to focus on. 1, visibility. 2, trust. 3, validation. 4, authority. And 5, citability. If you get these 5 right, you're going to win locally in your market. And if you ignore just one of them, well, you're going to feel like SEO isn't working. So let's get started right in the video with visibility. The number one place you're going to show up visibly is Google Business Profile. So Google Business Profile still runs the show when it comes to visibility, okay? So here's the foundational pieces that are still working and you still need to be doing. So first, a fully built out Google Business Profile, right? Your services category, your categories, your descriptions, your photos, Q&As, products and updates, all that needs to be filled out completely. There's a ton of videos online on how to do it. I'm sure I've got one on my channel too, but you've got to make sure that that is fully optimized or it's going to have no relevance to actually showing up with AI or even online. Second part, consistent activity, meaning photos, posts, and accurate hours. Are all those continuing to stay updated? Does photos and updates move the needle completely? No, but activity on there just continues to build trust that you're a business that's actually being active online. So just keep that in mind. This doesn't necessarily like help in the rankings as much as when people do find your Google Business Profile, they see recent projects that have gone through or photos or updates for new offers that you have. And then you want to tighten your relevance, meaning your correct primary category is in alignment with your service listing. You don't want to have your primary category be a fence contractor and then your categories or your service listings have like deck is your main things, right? You do a lot of decking or you do a lot of, let's say you do roofing or siding and then fencing is your primary category, right? That's confusing to Google. So make sure that like if you're a roofing contractor is your primary, and then underneath that, make sure your services are like roof repair, roof replacement, residential roofing, like all those stuff are in alignment. And then if you do siding and stuff, you can put those underneath it as well, okay? Next is what's dead or risky and things you want to avoid. So number 1, can't do this anymore. Well, you hadn't been able to do this for a while. Keyword stuffing the business name. That's like short-term pop, long-term pain. Okay, so don't try to get a keyword or a business name that's like keyword to the local market. Brand is going to matter. Okay, fake locations, fake addresses, and spam listings. Now, this is harder to do now with all of the verifications you got to do with Google Business Profile, but don't try to skirt around having a real office, having a real location, and having multiple locations just to try to show up in multiple areas. Google's going to eventually flag it and find it. You're going to lose all your reviews, all your stuff, and you ain't going to be able to do anything about it. So just get a real office location, or if you're working out of your home, make it a service area, and you'll be fine, okay? So here's what you need to do as far as your Google Business Profile, a little action plan for 2026. So make sure your GBP matches your website services exactly, meaning are you making sure you're using the same language. So this is why it's important that you, when you're in that position and you're ready to invest, that you hire a legitimate professional marketing company to handle this part for you, to make sure that the copy's in alignment in both places. Make sure the website's structured properly so everything's in the same language, same branding, and it all matches up. That's super important with AI, super important with Google now. Next thing is add photo proof weekly. So job site photos, don't add stock photos, please. If it's a legitimate photo, add it. And listen, with iPhones nowadays, like these shoot great photos for what you need online. This is all you need. You don't need anything else. So keep that in mind when you're taking photos at job sites. All right, second part is trust. Reviews matter more because trust is the ranking plus conversion fuel that you're going to need for your business. So getting reviews, hugely important, right? That's social proof. So what still works? What we call the trust fuel here. So consistent review velocity, not burst. Meaning, let's say you do 10 jobs a month, right? You know, some people that's pretty solid. So let's say you do 10 jobs a month. You need to have like 3 or 4 or 5 reviews coming periodically throughout the month instead of doing like, let's say I did 40 jobs in the past 5 months and then all of a sudden I've had no reviews come in and now I'm getting like 20 reviews. right? That just feels spammy to Google. So you want to make sure that you're consistently getting reviews as you do jobs. And the big thing about that is going to be like, put it into your sales process. If you're a good contracting company, you're going to have a quality control check at the end, walk everything through with a homeowner to make sure everything's solid, everything looks good. And when they're at their happiest, and when that's the case, you want to be like, hey, is there anything else I can help you with? Or, do you mind sharing your experience on Google? Here, let me send you a link real quick. Let me send you a text, scan this QR code, whatever. While you're doing that and filling that out right now, while it's all fresh in their mind and they're happy, you're going to tell them, I'm going to go do one more walkthrough to make sure everything's clear and ready to go. While you're taking care of that. Let them take care of it. Let them do it right then and there. That will help you with your review velocity. Okay. Next, review content that mentions services plus locations naturally from real customers. So you can't tell people what to put in a review, but you can say, could you share your experience, and while you're at it, just let them know what we did for you and where you're located, right? Just mention those two things. Just be like, that'd be super helpful for anybody else around here that may want our services, so they know that to look at this review. Okay. Third thing, owner responses that reinforce keywords without sounding robotic. So the third part to reviews that most people miss is you need to respond within 24 hours. Now, we use Go High Level. It auto responds to reviews with AI, and then you can go back and change it if you need to. But so now, like when I have somebody leaves a review on our company or some of our clients, boom, it automatically responds to it, and like we're not even thinking about it. So that way it's done it's done with AI, and it's done with a way that's not like spammy, but it does reinforce keywords. It does reinforce what they put on their review to make sure that it's all in alignment. So what's dead? What's risky? What are the trust killers? So for you guys, one, buying reviews. Number one, don't do it. Okay, don't get all your families and friends to start popping reviews. Use real customer reviews. It's going to be helpful. Google's going to see right through it. Don't get somebody, unless you're a national company like us, right? We have people that leave reviews all over the place. But if you're starting to get like a ton of reviews from like, I don't know, like if I live in Alabama, but I started getting, and I have a business here in Birmingham, but I started getting reviews from Indiana and New York and Florida and all these places, like Google's going to flag that stuff. Second, review gating. So what you got to be careful of is only sending reviews from customers that you know are going to leave you a bad review, right? You got to make sure that you're not trying to keep it only at a 5-star. And to be honest with you, if you got like a 4.9 or 4.8, you're still good. Everybody's going to have a bad review at some point. Somebody's going to have a bad experience. We're just people. It's just the way it is. Don't let that ruin your reputation, right? Obviously, you want to respond to it in the right way, but don't keep people or try to get it deleted or get them to take it off because they left a bad review. You got to show your flaws, but you got to show how you handle it, okay? And then one-time review push and then silence. So we talked about this before, and we've done this for some companies. You just got to be careful not to do it all the time, but doing one big review push a year, getting a bunch of reviews, and then not doing anything for like 3 to 5 to 6 months. Always be asking and getting consistent reviews, okay? Now, for your action plan when it comes to reviews, so build a simple review ask system, text, email that's tied to the job completion. Now, for those who are not comfortable right now asking for reviews on the job site and putting into their process, you should be, right? If you got a good company, you got good results, you should be asking for a review. But if you're not, create a system that you can automatically text and email over a 1-month period where they're getting a bunch of touch points through multiple channels, email, text, phone call, to get a review and ask them to leave it. Because sometimes if it gets sent in the middle of the day, they're not going to remember. So maybe send a text at like 6 o'clock at night, or send an email late at night where it may pop up on their phone. They go, oh yeah, I need to do that. Because if you send it during the workday, like they're probably not going to get to it. Okay. And then track velocity versus your top 3 competitors. So one thing you can do is you can look at who else is showing up in the maps around you, right? If you're in the top 3, and then just kind of keeping track how many reviews you're getting consistently, right? You can go into their account, you can click newest, it'll show you how many reviews you're getting, and just make sure you're staying on pace with the top competitors. All right, the third thing is validation, what we call bucket number 3. And this is talking about citations and directories, because they still matter, but only if it's done the right way. So let's get into what's still working with the citations foundation. So a foundational citation stacks from reputable sources. Okay, if you're being cited by other companies, typically they're going to be businesses of high authority. So we want to make sure that you have high authority websites that are citing your company or business and that are local to the market, right? There's relevance there on how you're cited. 2, nap consistency, meaning are you taking a nap at the same time of day? It's just a bad dad joke. The message. So your name, address, phone number, is it everywhere and is it accurate? And it needs to be the same. Okay. The formatting needs to be the same, period, end of story. And then industry plus local citations. So like Chamber of Commerce plus local associations. Be a part of it all. Pay the dues, pay the fees. Chamber of Commerce is one of the best local backlinks you can get and really gives you a boost when it comes to that stuff. Like when we signed up for our local Chamber of Commerce, immediately, boom, we were getting a bump because we had a local high authority site referring back to our company and our business. All right. So what to avoid? What are the things that are going to give you the biggest mistakes? Submitting to 200 plus random directories that nobody uses. Now, we had somebody, like we vet the directories monthly. Like our SEO team does a fantastic job. Travis and Taryn going through and like looking through directories that are relevant and making sure they're still relevant and rotating them out if they're not. And what's funny is a lot of they do a deep dive research on the stuff to make sure that we're finding the right places. We had a contractor who was frustrated with progress after 3 months, whatever. Anyway, it happens, right? Although we set the right expectations, where they're like, well, why are we in all these directories? This doesn't look like a directory. I'm like, look, if you look at the authority that comes behind these directories, whether it looks like a directory to you or not, Google sees this as a directory, AI sees this as a directory, therefore you're in it for that purpose, right? And obviously the results carried. They started ranking and, keywords started moving up. But you just don't want to go to every directory you can just to be in a directory. So keep that in mind. Find the ones that are most relevant to your area. Duplicates plus inconsistent phone numbers. So if you have duplicated phone numbers, multiple phone numbers, just make sure it's the same phone number and it matches. Third thing, cheap submission blast with no cleanup. Okay. Just don't do it. Easy enough. All right. So resources to use, save plus no. So Bright Local's top citation sites list has a good baseline of what you need to use. Use a reputable company like that if you're going to be doing this and pursuing it on your own to make sure that you're getting the right citation sites. White Spark, also another great one. Very solid. You can get the right citations you need for your market or area, and they're going to give you relevant ones. And then tools plus services if you want it done for you, right? So Bright Local, Yext, White Spark, they have this option where you can pay them to handle the citations for you. Now, if you're doing a piecemeal together SEO campaign, like this is the way to go, just pay them to do it. Obviously, if you're doing a full SEO campaign, I always recommend hiring a professional company. Do your research, make sure they're doing the right things. You can always use us. All right, fourth thing is authority, okay? So backlinks still work, but the how has changed. So links are still a credible signal, okay? But Google is strict about the spam links and the schemes that are used to get links, right? So let's talk about this for a moment, because everybody's like, oh, get a bunch of backlinks. That's going to help. No, that has to be relevant to your company or business. And that's where people go wrong. They go on Fiverr. They go on, we'll talk about it in a minute there. So friendly links that you can get. So one, local sponsorship. So if you sponsor a local school event or a youth sporting event, like we live in Pelham, Alabama, I don't care, whatever, and they have local youth sports, right? If we sponsor a team, I want them to put that on their website. I want them to put it on their social media. I want them to tag us, right? Because I want it to be local relevance to where our business is. All right, then you got Chamber of Commerce. So local business organizations or anything like that, hugely important. Get your Chamber of Commerce, be a part of it, even if you're not active. Make sure you pay whatever dues there are. Supplier, manufacturer, authorized install dealer pages. So if you're obviously like a roofing contractor, like getting on GAF site, or if you use Owens Corning's, or whatever you use, Certainteed, that's the shingles on my roof. If you're on those, make sure you're on the authorized installer or deal pages, so that way you're getting the backlink from those authority sites, right? Those aren't local, but they are authority based on your industry. You do want those. Local partnership pages. So you should already be doing this in month 1. And then local PR, job stories, community projects, unique installs, right? So making sure that, like, if you're doing a local community project, make sure it gets in the news. It gets posted on the news stuff. Make sure it gets posted somewhere, right? And it's being published online through reputable companies, right, to get a PR campaign going. Once again, these are all friendly, great backlinks to your business because they're showing backlinks from authority sites that are local and authority sites that are in your industry. All right, here's the dead risky stuff. You want to avoid these link tactics. So buying SEO backlinks from random blogs that don't make a difference to your company or business. People do it. They think that's going to work. It's not going to work. Don't do it. PBNs, Fiverr link blast. Don't do those things, right? Fiverr link blasts are some of the worst. People are like, they find an SEO expert on there from another country, and that's fine. There are some there that do great, but usually if they're on there, they're giving you bad links or they don't know the full picture, the full scope of how SEO works. They give you a bunch of link blast, and when you do spam links, it actually kills your SEO. It doesn't make it better. And then parasite SEO type shortcuts. So Google's been cracking down broadly on policy abuse patterns, things like this, where, if you try to do this black hat stuff and you try to work around the system, it's just not going to work, right? Google's going to catch you at some point, so make sure you're staying above board on all this. So how should you build your own local list? Well, besides talking about going to Bright Local or things like that and having them do it for you, go there as a reference point. But what you want to do today is make a list of 30 local entities that you could link to. And you only need a few good ones per quarter, right? You don't have to have one every time, but you can have 2 or 3 every quarter linking back to your company or business. And this will be a huge help and a huge boost to your online SEO and, of course, with AI search. And the fifth and final bucket is citability. So this still works, but it's not citation-worthy content. So AI reviews are triggered by lots of information queries, people asking questions, and it can reduce the amount of clicks to your business. So that means being cited has become a win condition, not just about ranking. So it means that if you're being cited more, the AI is finding your business relevant to what people are asking online. Therefore, it's showing your business. Once again, we get this a lot. We got people local, ChatGPT, asking questions about marketing, and our company shows up. Why? Because we put good information online. We're structured the right way so that it will show up and people will call our company. All right, so what's still working or citation-worthy content? So you need service pages that actually answers buyer questions. That means price ranges, timelines, materials, warranties, what affects the cost. Hugely important on service pages. You need to have that put out. And then also answering them further and going deeper into blog posts to answer those questions, right? You can have a fundamental service page with that, but then use it as a content pillar to go deeper into stuff, right? Because if you're putting on a roof, depending on what type of roof, or they're doing metal or shingle, pricing changes, warranties change, type of shingle that you put on, right? All this stuff matters. So you want to go further and deeper and continue to answer those questions so people can have them answered when they're searching through AI to get the answers they need, and they're going to cite your company. Next, location pages that aren't copy and paste. Now, you can have the same framework and you can have the same structure on a location page, but just make sure it isn't exactly the same, but just swapping out the location name, right? A lot of things you can do, and it's a little bit of a cheat, not really, but you can use things like ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI. And if you're doing this on your own, which you shouldn't, a lot of times what you can do is take paragraphs and throw them in there and be like, I need to make this relevant for this location. And you give them the location. A lot of times it will search the internet, find the location, use grammar or language that cites that location, and then rewrite it to where it's put in there. So you can have the same structure, just not the same copy-paste content, all right? And then local authority content to build entity relevance. So neighborhoods, landmarks, community pages. You want to build local authority content. I live close to Oak Mountain State Park. We're going to get content out about Oak Mountain. Even if we're talking about I'm doing a big march or big hike in March or April, I think. It's called the Mammoth March, right? I could put a press release or blog post content talking about that event and even talk about my participation in it. So that's a big deal. Okay. Now, what's not to do? Generic fluff, thin blogs with generic fluff, or AI written one time and don't even look at it and just post. One of the worst things you can do, right? So make sure that you're not doing that. Copy and paste location pages, swapping the city name and calling it SEO. Once again, make sure nowadays, and this takes longer on websites that we're building currently, we're going through the service area pages and we're going through the content on the page, and we're making sure that we're using language to that local market. Okay. And when you do that, a lot of times you can use ChatGPT and things like that to help you with it. But when you start using local language, when I start talking about Double Oak Mountain, or, if you're outside of Atlanta, talking about things specific in those areas, Like if you're in the Dunwoody area, that's different than downtown Atlanta, right? If you're in Woodstock, that's different than, you know, I don't know, Cumming, Georgia, right? So you want language that fits those pages, instead of just like swapping out one thing and then just basically just duplicating content. You can't get away with it anymore, all right? Now, here's what you need to do. You want to write content like it's going to be quoted somewhere, okay? So shorter sections on your content, whether it be on a page or service page or location page or on a blog post, okay? Clear headings. Now, we have a tool that when we look at websites, that we just click a button and it shows us the heading structure on the website because it reads the HTML code. And this is a huge issue with most people. They'll get a site that's designed and looks great, but the heading structure is off, meaning H1, like the main heading on there should be one H1 tag. There shouldn't be multiple H1. And the H1 header tells Google and AI, what is this page about? Then you have H2, which are subcategories underneath that supports H1. And you have H3, which usually supports an H2, and then you have an H4 that usually supports an H3, right? So it's structured like that. Google reads it that way. AI needs to read it that way. So a lot of times we find the headings on pages are a disaster, and is one of the biggest technical SEO fixes we have to make when we're doing SEO on client sites. Q&A, giving direct answers to people's questions. So once again, pricing is always a big thing. People don't want to put their price, but like it's hugely important to sit there and go, okay, like this is how you think about pricing when it comes to a new roof. Or, you know, because a new roof on my house is going to be different costs than a new roof on a house that's smaller than mine. It just is, right? Or may have a larger surface area or maybe a higher pitch, whatever. Same thing with fencing or any other industry. With contractors, like make sure you're answering those questions. And then real proof. They want to see photos that are local photos and not stock photos. They can read the image, right? They can see that it's geotagged on Google and AI. And then when you're uploading photos on your website, make sure that you're putting in the location, you're describing, you're putting the alt text in. Like all that stuff needs to be labeled. Even when you upload your photo, uploading your photo and naming the file, like, you know, what the project was and location is hugely important. You can be like Certainteed Roof, Birmingham, Alabama. Boom, put it on there, right? It's got relevance, and that'd be the file name, right? And then upload it to the site and then fill out the rest of the tags there. That is what you need when it comes to your content on your site and how you should structure it. So local SEO isn't dead. Just being lazy about local SEO is dead. So if you want the 12-month plan that we use with our clients when it comes to building out a local SEO plan for their business, condensed down into a 30-day sprint so you can get started doing it yourself, check the link below. We'll have a link to a Google Doc. Make a copy of it, and you can get started with everything and all the strategies we talked about in this video with your own SEO strategies today. And as always, if you want a professional company to just handle that for you, get it off your plate so that you're not having to worry about it. You can go back to running your business, and you can invest in a solid 12-month SEO plan that will completely transform the way your business looks next year. Click also link below. There's a time you can book a strategy call with us, and we will walk through what it looks like for your business. Appreciate you watching. Next time.